Now, I have really been given a special task here today, and my task is really to share with you on the theme of contending for the nations. And I'm really thrilled and disturbed even and concerned and passionately involved in nations. And so I want to share with you on what it means to contend for the nation, your nation, and the nations of the world in what we call chaotic times. And we're contending through intercession. And each of these words is very important. We are living in chaotic times, we believe. We are dealing with nations globally, and there are many ways in which we can contend, but we are contending through intercession. But all of this is happening against the backdrop of what Daniel has shared with us, that God changes the times, God changes the seasons, He removes kings and He sets up kings. So we're praying against that backdrop and that understanding that God is in charge anyhow. Nations are very special to God. And I just want to remind you of how Paul described nations. And in Acts 17, verse 26 to 28, he says, God has made from one blood every nation of men to dwell on the face of the earth. God established nations. It's God's idea. And He has determined their pre-appointed times and boundaries of their dwellings. You see, we may vote this person in, we may vote this person out. We like the state, the nation state, but God is after nation peoples as well as the nation state. And why is He after the nations? So that men might seek the Lord. So the nations of the world are, in fact, God's idea and God's construct so that men within that context might seek the Lord and hope that they might grope for Him and find Him, although He's not far from each one of us. And so this is very, very critical, very critical. What then is the state of the nation? Well, we know that it depends on which lens you are looking through. We can ask the question, how glorious really is the age in which we live? When you view it through the lens of the humanists and the secularists and the postmodernists, the world in which we live, they say, is glorious. There's a utopian prospect that they have for the future. They are very optimistic and positive and exciting. I don't know how old you are, but I have been living from the from the 40s when the Second World War ended. I think the Second World War ended because I was born. Well, from that post-war era, the imperialistic age began to develop, and in the first world, the nations generally were being led by very optimistic people, political ideologists, economic pragmatists, and social idealists, and technical scientists, and the creative entertainers, and sporting enthusiasts. And all of them had a very positive and very aggressive way of thinking of nations in their glory. That's the era when humanism and secularism began to take root. Really, the problem is that all the leaders were leading to the credit and idolatrous pride of man. And of course, we've also seen the development of national independence amongst many, many nations. We entered a kind of deterministic age. You see, it emerged when such nations as India, the nations of the continent of Africa and the Caribbean and even the wealthier Islamic nations began to emerge and with positive ideas of becoming strong nations in the post-colonial political era. Yeah. The positive movement among the third world peoples. They were now asserting themselves, many of us, to provide stable and reliable governance for ourselves, to develop our own natural resources and to manage our own economies and to the benefit of our own peoples and for the security of our own boundaries. Yeah. But my brothers and sisters, without God, the utopian dreams of all these politicians and governmental elite inevitably end up as empty promises, yeah? Depressing nightmares in every area, locally and nationally and regionally. You see, without God, the social elite business tycoons have actually succumbed to their own arrogance and idolatrous pride. They protect themselves now by oppressing people, by subjugating peoples to their own selfish values and culture and establishing their own views and their own accomplishments as the status quo. Yeah, they have created a world. We see it all around us today of ethnic prejudices and intellectual snobbery and political fanaticism, economic oppression, social dissonance. We see it in the result, bringing chaos, mass upheavals, and gang-driven violence. People are discontented, they're oppressed, they're resentful, they're deprived and depraved. The pursuit of political and economic power by the privileged elite are factors that are actually producing the increasing gap between the haves and the have-nots, the uptown middle class and the downtown inner city communities. You know, to be frank, the more I look at it, I see that it has become common that even organized violence is not just confined to the poor and confined to the underdeveloped communities. No, fraud is endemic across middle and upper income privileged tax evaders, which lead to severe consequences across the wider economy. Yeah, we are living in a chaotic age in which there is dilemma in every area, nationally and globally. Think of it. There's political polarization. There's family disorders. We've been praying about that. Economic and uncertainties, educational disorientation, environmental disasters, health pandemics, youth delinquency, military massacres, media deception all over the world. And you know, I have been thinking about where we are today and looking on the east, looking on the west. It's not just what's happening in your nation, it's what's happening in the whole Orient and the Western countries. There's a cultural contrast that is creating tension between nations, even while we are moving from nation to nation. The Eastern thought often emphasizes collectivism and harmony, while Western thought tends to prioritize individualism and personal freedom. Eastern cultures typically favor indirect communication, whereas the Western cultures often value the rights of the individual. We fight for it to have open, direct speech and share our personal opinions freely. Eastern societies may have a more fluid perception of time, while Western cultures often adhere to strict schedules and punctuality. Yeah, Eastern religions like Buddhism and Hinduism, they focus on individual spirituality and inner peace, yes, while Western religions often emphasize salvation and moral law, both in the now and in the hereafter. Eastern societies may have more hierarchical structures, and they honor those, while Western societies often promote egalitarianism and meritocracy. Yeah, cultures create conflict. But even more than that, now politically, there is, as we notice, even in the last few weeks, last few months, there is an effort for global realignment as the nations of the East are vying for dominance and the nations of the West are vying for dominance. Yeah, many political parties around the world are in crisis. Most of them are wedded to outmoded 20th century paradigms that envision the world through the prism of left and right, capitalism and socialism. China's modernization drive, if you notice, is a political force that is actually claiming to represent the people's collective interest. And equally, they are infiltrating now many third world nations with their benevolent culture and with their cheap labor skills. But on the other hand, there's the aggressiveness now of the West and especially the USA. It has created a whole new alert reaction to the global platform, politically and militarily and socially, in business and trade. What is the motto in the US now? Making America great again. Yeah, they're seeking to promote the West as the authoritarian leaders of the democratic governmental system in the world and they want to become the economic giants for the people. My brothers and sisters, in the midst of this, we cannot ignore the fact that all of this is creating tension. And it's there too, not only the Orient and the West, but in the Middle East, in Europe, and we know in parts of Africa. Yeah, we are living in a time of contention. But I give praise and thanks to God for the prophetic life of Daniel. When you look through the prophetic lenses of Daniel, it reveals to us the seasonal limits of the kingdoms of this world. That's our hope. From in the times of Noah, yeah, God said, of the mighty men of old, every intent of the thoughts and imagination of the heart of man was only evil continually. But Daniel declares, he changes times, he changes seasons, he removes kings, and he raises up kings. Daniel 2:44 says, in the days of these kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom, his kingdom, which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom, his kingdom, shall not be left to other people to run. It shall break in pieces and consume all other nations, and it shall stand forever. Yeah. National crisis in every age is a cry, as we heard earlier, for new beginnings to fulfill the purpose of God. In every generation, including ours today, God is declaring, as he did to Israel, we quoted it before, God says, I sought for a man among them who would make up a wall and stand in the gap before me on behalf of the land, that I should not destroy it, but I found no one. Oh, I pray God would not say that again today. I pray that he will declare, I have set watchmen on your walls. They shall never hold their peace day or night. You who make mention of the Lord, do not keep silent, he says, and give him no rest until he establishes and until he makes Jerusalem, our cities, our nations, a praise in the earth. So as we heard so clearly set forth, and we've been praying this, the ecclesia is the answer. It must tackle the families, because the family is the womb of the nation. It must tackle the social culture, because the society is the soul of the nation. It must invade the communities and sow the seeds in every mountain, in every business sector, in every educational sphere, within our communities, because the community is a seedbed of the harvesting in the nation. Yes, the city is the sanctuary of God's presence in every nation. So, my brothers and sisters, the kingdom rulership of you and I, the sons of God, is now being raised against the chaos within nations of this age. God declared recorded in Psalm 2, why do the nations rage and the people plot in vain? The kings of the earth set themselves, the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bonds in pieces and let us cast away their cords from us. But he that sits in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall hold them in derision. And then he turns to us and he says, ask of me, and I will give you the nations for your inheritance, the ends of the earth for your possession. Yeah. That is why in Matthew chapter 16 and verse 19, Jesus declared, I will give to you, the church, the ecclesia, the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. And so today I encourage us to join in the prayer of Jesus Christ. He taught us to pray like this, and I believe, as it is said, he's interceding still in heaven on our behalf. He says, this is how you must pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. May your kingdom come and may your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And he says to us through the prophet Isaiah, call unto me and I will answer you. I will show you great and mighty things which you do not know. In Matthew 18, verses 18 and 19, he says, again, I say to you, if even two of you agree on earth concerning anything that you ask, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. Let us continue to pray and praise the Lord. In Psalm 22, verse 25, it says, my praise shall be of you, O Lord, in the great assembly. I will pay my vows before those who fear him. The poor shall eat and be satisfied. Yes, those who seek him will praise the Lord. Let your heart live forever. All the ends of the earth, says the psalmist, shall remember and turn to the Lord. And all the families of the nations shall worship before you, O God. For the kingdom is the Lord's, and he rules over nations. Let us remember. I like again how the psalmist in Psalm 113 declares, and this is our prayer, the Lord is high above all nations, his glory above the heavens. Who is like the Lord our God who dwells on high? Who humbles himself to behold the things that are in the heavens and in the earth? For he raises the poor out of the dust. He lifts the needy out of the ash heap, and that he may seat him with princes, with the princes of his people. He grants the barren woman a home like a joyful mother of children. Oh, praise the Lord. In Psalm 33, the Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. The Lord makes the plans of the peoples of no effect. Read it. Psalm 33, verses 10 to 12. The counsel of the Lord stands forever. The plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. The people he has chosen as his own inheritance. So, my brothers and sisters, I encourage us all in one accord that we should join together churches all across the globe, peoples, believers, from family to family, from community to community, and let us declare with confidence, like the psalmist in Psalm 67. Oh, the psalmist declares, and I am declaring it to you today, God be merciful to us, bless us, cause your face to shine upon us, that your way may be known on earth, your salvation among all nations. Oh, let the peoples praise you, O God. Let all the peoples praise you. Oh, let the nations be glad and sing for joy. For you shall judge the people righteously. You shall govern the nations on earth. So let the peoples praise you, O God. Let all the peoples praise you. Then the earth, then the earth, then the earth shall yield her increase. God, our own God, shall bless us. Yes, God shall bless us, and all the ends of the earth shall fear him. My brothers and sisters, with that challenge, with that burden, with that understanding, and with facing the truth and the reality of the chaos, the contention in every nation, and from nation to nation across the globe, I invite you, let's join together as one with the confidence that we have. Yeah, the chaos in the world is the opportunity for new beginnings. You know, somebody once asked me, where do you live now, Brother Peter? When I call you, you're here, and I just say to them, you know where my address is? Brother Isaac told us this morning. I live on Gold Street. I have a residence, a permanent residence. I'm a citizen of heaven, but I go to work every day on the earth. And God said to me when I was reflecting on this morning, He says, yeah, but you cannot change the world except you yourself are willing to be changed. Let's go for it.